What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one we have Poland. We're living the good life. This will shock you. Well, I'm excited to be shocked. Before we dive into this one though, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and let's dive right in.
Cześć everyone! Dzisiaj porozmawiamy o temacie, który jest dla mnie bardzo ważny. Have you ever traveled to a place that made you appreciate your own country more? That's exactly what we're diving into today.
Love it.
In this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on how visiting countries that face serious challenges can truly shift our perspective on what we have here in Poland.
Oh, wow. I feel like, yeah, that would make you appreciate things that you do have a bit more. I feel like there's just certain things, and I don't know about Poland, I can only speak on my behalf in America. There's certain things you take for granted that some people in the world don't necessarily have, and that we just take it for granted. We're not really that thankful for it, and we complain a lot, and then we go and travel and see places where people have less, and it's like we're really complaining about very trivial things.
Wiele rzeczy, które bierzemy za pewnik, są w rzeczywistości luksusem dla innych. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and let's get started. Zacznijmy od czegoś, co większość z nas nie zastanawia się na co dzień. Od dostępu do wody. Look at this. Clean running water 24 hours a day. W Polsce mamy to szczęście, ale w wielu krajach na świecie dostęp do czystej wody jest daleki od normy. I remember seeing a documentary about a small village where people had to walk miles to collect water. Imagine that in your daily life, taking 2 hours just to fetch a bucket of water. It really makes you think about how fortunate we are. Moreover, in some regions...
That's truly crazy, dog. Yeah, and that's things you just take for granted. You just turn the faucet and you expect water to come out and you never think about anything because that's just something that you've always had. And you don't think that, like, walking miles to go get a bucket of water, like, that's mind-blowing to me because you literally just have to walk to a sink and there's running water.
Regions, the water isn't even safe to drink. They rely on expensive filtration systems or bottled water, which can be a luxury for many families. Here,
now I'll say I don't drink water out the faucet. Sometimes water be having like a little dirty taste to it when it come out the faucet. I don't trust it out the faucet. I'll drink bottled water. So yeah.
Or bottled water, which can be a luxury for many families. Here, it's just a turn of a tap.
This we are seeing here is a borehole system where people have to move from their homes just to come here. Sometimes you come and see long queue with buckets, with bowls and other things trying to have access to water. It is not all homes that have access to water. So they are compensated to move all the way from their homes just to be able to have access to water for their cooking, for their domestic works. Those who are using it at their workplaces and co, they are forced to sometimes have to pay people, laborers and co, just to be able to have enough water for use. We are also seeing here as a commercial pipe-borne water which is often done by the government so that the people can have access to water. Sometimes within a day, it goes off all of a sudden until it flows again. So when that happens, a lot of people are forced to get to this place just to have access to water. And with this, as you are seeing, it is currently disconnected for some number of years because the government or the people are not able to pay for the amounts that they are being charged just to access this water.
Teraz spójrzmy na co.
That's absolutely crazy. It's definitely stuff like that makes you look at a lot of the things that you take for granted and help you to be more appreciative of all the things that you do have and stop complaining about all the things that you don't.
Coś, co też jest dla nas oczywiste. Elektryczność. Kiedy włączamy światło, rzadko myślimy o tym, że nie wszędzie jest to takie łatwe.
Facts.
In many places, people face regular power outages. Imagine trying to cook dinner or study for an exam, and the power cuts out unexpectedly. In parts of Africa, for example, this is a common occurrence, affecting everything from education to even healthcare. I've read stories about students studying by candlelight or relying on generators, which can be costly to maintain. It's a stark reminder that our daily conveniences are often privileges.
This morning, for instance, I encountered an issue of trying to get prepaid. Prepaid is well noted to be trying to get electricity power supply. And it took me hours just because after getting to the very vendor station, I needed to wait extra miles or extra time. I had to take a longer period of time just for me to be able to access prepaid so I can have electricity supply. This has become one of the biggest challenges affecting our productivity as Ghanaians.
Teraz porozmawiamy o internecie.
That's crazy. Electricity. I mean, why it ain't cheap no more. Like, it is getting ridiculously expensive, and I'm not enjoying paying for all that electricity. It does turn on whenever we hit a switch. It hits at the flip of the switch, and although I feel like it's expensive here, it is more expensive in other parts of the world. So, all these power outages, they're having to study by candlelight or I've never had to do any of these things. So again, it's just another thing that we don't think about in our everyday lives, but should be hugely grateful for.
Temu mam dostęp do informacji. Mogę pracować zdalnie i komunikować się z przyjaciółmi na całym świecie. In Poland, we take for granted how easy it is to connect online. But in many developing countries, internet access can be slow, unreliable, or even non-existent. This can hinder education, business opportunities, and overall connectivity. For instance, I once watched a video where a teacher in a rural area was using a smartphone as a teaching tool. They had to travel to find a spot with good reception just to connect to the internet. It's incredible how creative people can be in overcoming such barriers. But it also highlights how critical these services are for development. In Poland, public transportation is accessible.
When it comes to internet, I literally get so freaking frustrated just if my computer is working a little bit slower than I think it should be working. I sit there and get impatient and frustrated, and there's not even a thought of like, bro, other people don't even have internet, or other people don't even have Wi-Fi, or other people, like, bro, you have a phone that's almost as powerful as a computer. You have a computer, you have a laptop, you have access to this internet. Again, another thing to be grateful for that can't be taken for granted.
Reliable and relatively affordable. You can hop on a bus or tram and get to almost anywhere in the city without much hassle. But this isn't the case everywhere. In many countries, particularly in rural areas, public transport may be scarce or non-existent. Imagine living in a place where the nearest bus comes only once a week. This limits your ability to go to work, attend school, or even buy groceries. I've seen stories about people who have to walk long distances just to catch a bus or hitch a ride. It's a reminder of how transportation shapes our lives and opportunities.
On this very road, we can see a lot of vehicles filled with foodstuffs getting to the main township of Koforidua. So these people get to the main town to transact business. But looking at the roads that they will commute for, the villages that they have to travel all the way just to come to the eastern region, or Koforidua, the central town of eastern region, to market their produce. That is a little or a bit stressful. It is a bit hectic for these people. Whilst their health too is at risk because of the road that they will go through. Some of them have to go through potholes here and there. The vehicles have to be moving up and down, and this also affects us because if the person is supposed to use about 1 hour to get to their destination, the person is forced to use more than 1 hour because their roads are not that good. And sometimes it is at the risk of our lives because you may not know what can happen on this road. You may not know what you will face whilst traveling from here just to transact business with our fellow Ghanaians. These we are seeing here too are abandoned items or equipment that we were supposed to use to construct roads. Yet these have been abandoned for years, whilst we are also suffering, going through a lot of things because these bad roads at the end of the day result in accidents day in, day out, and we are losing people. It increases this high mortality rate in Ghana here, which I think if they should be attended to as soon as possible, it will be a better place for us all.
Just to think, like, roads, like, so many times I got to go over a gravel road or something and I'm complaining as much as humanly possible, or when I see a pothole every once in a while. These people are going over these terrible roads where they're bouncing up and down and the cars are running into these potholes, and if it's bad enough, she said it's causing accidents. You know, like, you're putting your life at risk just to drive an hour on these roads, and that's absolutely insane to think about, and that's something I definitely take for granted. Now, unlike Poland, the U.S. doesn't really have great public transport, if there's public transport around you at all. And so, yes, that's one I can't really comment on, public transport, because we don't have good public transport here either. Or not either, but we don't have good public transport here. But I can't comment on the roads. We got plenty of those here in this country. And people complain about terrible roads all the time, but they're not this bad.
Przyjrzyjmy się teraz systemowi opieki zdrowotnej. In Poland, we have access to healthcare services that many take for granted. If you feel unwell, you can visit a doctor without waiting for weeks. However, in other countries, especially those with limited resources, healthcare can be a significant challenge. I've seen statistics showing that in some regions, a lack of medical supplies or trained professionals leads to devastating outcomes. In rural parts of certain African nations, for instance, families may have to travel great distances to see a doctor. This can be dangerous, especially in emergencies. We often forget how fortunate we are to have access to quality healthcare. Dziękuję za to, że ogólnie możemy polegać na naszym systemie zdrowia. Widzicie, podróżowanie zmienia naszą perspektywę. I remember my first trip abroad where I encountered different living conditions. Seeing firsthand the challenges others face made me deeply appreciate the life I have here in Poland.
I feel that.
I was particularly struck by a community I visited that had faced significant adversity. Despite lacking basic services, the sense of community was incredibly strong. People came together to help one another, organizing food drives and even like educational programs. Their resilience and hope were truly inspiring. I left that place with a renewed sense of gratitude for my own circumstances. I realized that while we may complain about minor inconveniences, there are others who are fighting for basic needs every single day. Podczas podróży.
And that's crazy to think of. And then the healthcare. Yeah, I guess healthcare here in the U.S. is ridiculously unaffordable. Number one cause of death in the U.S. is medical debt, but still, it is there to access. And although it's gonna break you, it's not like, hey, if you're on your deathbed, you don't have to drive a long way to find a hospital or find a doctor. There's people trained all around you. So you don't have those worries. Your worries here is that it's going to break you. In Poland, is it? I'm not sure. Do y'all do it where healthcare could come out of your taxes, and so healthcare is free because they take it out of your taxes, and then you probably also have the option of private healthcare. Do y'all do it that way, or do you guys pay for healthcare? How does it go for you guys?
Poznajemy różne kultury I tradycje. I believe that understanding these differences fosters empathy and appreciation. For example, I learned about how communities celebrate life even in the face of adversity. In various cultures, celebrations often bring people together to uplift each other, whether it's through festivals, music, or even food. I once attended a cultural festival where people shared their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs. It was a powerful reminder that despite our differences, we all share a common humanity. We can learn so much from each other. As we come to a close, I encourage you to reflect on what you take for granted in your home country. What are the little things that make your daily life easier? Have you ever traveled somewhere that made you truly appreciate home? Or maybe it was the simple act of having a warm meal or feeling safe in your community. I'd honestly love to hear your guys' stories. Let's foster a conversation about gratitude and awareness. How can we better understand the struggles others face and contribute positively to the global community? Dziękuję, że byliście ze mną dzisiaj. I hope this video inspires you to appreciate the conveniences of life in Poland while recognizing the struggles that many people face around the world. Remember, guys, every journey we take, whether physical or emotional, helps us grow and understand the world a little better. W końcu, każdy z nas ma coś, czego może się nauczyć o siebie nawzajem. So, until next time, take care, appreciate the beauty around you, and let's continue this journey of understanding together. Na razie. Bye, guys.
Definitely enjoyed that because she's completely right. Let's figure out how to stop complaining about things that we don't have and start being grateful for everything that we do have. I haven't traveled to anywhere that made me feel like I've taken stuff for granted, but I've never left the country. And so knowing that there are people out there with much less, knowing that there are countries out there with much less, appreciate all the conveniences that you have and don't waste your time complaining about what you don't. Love that video. That's all we have. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. And I'll see you guys next time.